International Space Station discovers unidentified object 3,000 miles away. Everyone has an opinion on the topics of alien life and making contact with extraterrestrials. Some believe it's all a scam, some are willing to speculate, and yet others are completely entranced by the legends and stories from long ago. Cameras ready and tinfoil hats at the ready. One of the many crazy conspiracy theories. Since every new sighting of a flying saucer or hovercraft makes national news and divides us into two factions. UFOs have captivated and perplexed us for years. However, the majority of the time, the largest space organization in the world, NASA, does not respond to these sightings, raising suspicion that NASA is concealing something. The same thing happens when the International Space Station discovers an unidentified object that is 3,000 miles long, but no one responds. So, let's look at what we have learned so far. The actions of NASA have been highly questionable for a very long time. There are times when it is questioned about anything seen on the ISS live feed and has nothing to say. And then there are occasions when the ISS feed is entirely turned off for an unknown amount of time as soon as the camera catches something strange. When the ISS captured a 3,000-mile wide UFO in space, a similar event occurred. One of the most remarkable undertakings that man has managed to complete in space is the International Space Station. However, a lot of individuals are unaware of and do not recognize the project's full scope. The International Space Station was the world's first international space project. It is a joint venture between 5 nations, a collaboration you would never expect to see. The largest modular space station was created by a collaboration between the European and Canadian space agencies, the Roscosmos from Russia, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration from the United States, and who would have these nations who always have a political and power hunger dispute going on will come together for such a great cause. It explains that we still consider that on the space venture, we represent ourselves as the residents of Earth and not nations. The International Space Station serves as a research hub for a variety of fields including physics, meteorology, astrobiology, and other related fields. The station is big enough and low enough to be visible to the naked eye from Earth. It is precisely 400 kilometers above Earth's surface. It bears the title of being the largest man-made satellite of Earth. Its orbit, which lasts just 93 minutes, is extremely brief. This indicates that it passes over the same area of the sky at least 15 times per day. You might find it fascinating to know that the International Orbit Station was meticulously put together in space, with the first components being launched in 1998. 2 years later, in 2000, Russia launched a shoddy rocket with its contributions aborted. The International Space Station was ultimately ready for service by 2002. On November 2, 2000, the International Space Station's first crew arrived. Since that time, individuals have lived and worked on the International Space Station in a manner similar to the Avengers Quinjet. In 2011, 13 years after its initial launch, the ISS construction was officially finished. Another intriguing fact is that the International Space Station was originally known as Freedom, but as more nations joined the main United States project, its name was changed. A number of cameras placed on the International Space Station transmit a live feed from space to Earth every single day. The cameras typically record images of the Earth, although occasionally the live stream will also show portions of the ISS's solar panels. Some of the most exceptional feats of humankind in space have been made visible to the world thanks to these cameras. For example, the SpaceX launch of the Starlink satellites was covered via the ISS live broadcast in 2020. Brent Jet's trip to the International Space Station was also covered in the live feed in 2006. The International Space Station needed a jet to install a solar array, but unexpectedly, the same cameras on the ISS have been at the center of many disputes. Many viewers of the live broadcast have claimed that NASA shut it down on purpose because it has over the years identified a UFO or other odd objects. One clip also reveals an odd, elongated form that is neither an asteroid nor a man-made spacecraft, but is very close to the Earth's curvature. Despite the fact that it had a strange resemblance to a UFO, NASA has always refuted any claims to the contrary and maintained its innocence. However, there have been times when NASA has remained oddly silent about these accusations, and has failed to offer any justifications for what is seen on video, as in the case of these images that NASA released in 2013. NASA contributed some images to the planetarium show in Brasilia in 2013. These images, according to NASA, were captured by the International Space Station. The images show a huge structure orbiting the planet. Surprisingly, the images weren't as popular as expected when they were first released, despite being estimated to be over 3,000 kilometers long. In 2020, they reappeared like a celebrity scandal and quickly became popular online. As you might have guessed, the internet was engulfed in a frenzy of speculation. Some wondered how such a large UFO could never dare to enter the orbit of the Earth alone, speculating that there must be a whole fleet nearby. Others questioned why a mothership would take the chance of being the first to enter the Earth's orbit and whether it was spying on us. In that case, why? Should we be relieved that we could have discovered what the majority of us had been eagerly searching for, or should we be fearful of an alien invasion? Sadly, we are unsure of our thoughts and feelings on this discovery just yet. The photographs have reappeared, but NASA has made no mention of them. Perhaps we are overreacting to image one of the numerous artificial satellites orbiting the Earth. But the scale of these objects is so enormous that we should probably be concerned. On the subject of the object's potential ties to Oumuamua, several skeptics have also speculated. During its passage through the solar system, Oumuamua was the first interstellar object to be formally discovered. When Oumuamua was first discovered by Robert J. Ward, it was thought to be just another asteroid, but many of its characteristics were quite different from those of an asteroid or comet. For instance, Oumuamua possessed no distinctive qualities. In addition to being immaculately clean and having a length 10 times larger than width, the trail was also cigar-shaped. Despite being quite close to the Sun, Oumuamua likewise avoided collapsing as it whirled over it. If it had been an asteroid, it would have disintegrated into dust at this very time due to its temperature of more than 570 degrees Fahrenheit. Studies of Oumuamua's solar maneuverings journey show that it originated from the direction of Vega, the brightest star in the constellation Lyra. It was more than 300,000 years old and has been circling the universe ever since, according to its speed and velocity. Oumuamua was traveling at a breakneck 4,800 km per hour as it crossed the Sun. It had already accelerated to a speed of 315,800 km per hour by the time it crossed the Sun by itself due to the Sun's gravity. Oumuamua's peculiar behavior is cited by Professor Avi Loeb as evidence of extraterrestrial life in his book Extraterrestrials, the first sign of intelligent life beyond the Earth. Other than the photographs made public by NASA, Oumuamua and the UFO witness had no official relationship validated by NASA or other space authorities. However, NASA initially refused to recognize the photographs. It appears that the public is overreacting and making a mountain out of a molehill. What do you think? It is now challenging for the scientific community to come to any conclusions due to the dearth of UFO observations. As a result, according to the research's principal investigator, astrophysicist David Spergel, the first challenge for the team would be determining the volume of data now available from sources, such as citizens, the government, charitable organizations, and businesses. Increasing credibility in this area of the study is another major objective of NASA. There is a great deal of stigma associated with UAP among our naval aviators and aviation community, said Evans. One of the things we tangentially hope to do as part of the study, simply by talking about it in the open, is to help to remove some of the stigma associated with it, and that will yield obviously increased access to data, more reports, and more sightings. We all know deep down that NASA is hiding a lot. Perhaps they're trying to prevent public hysteria. But there may be another reason, but occasionally things come to light and gain popularity. The general population is curious and needs to know since this is our world, and anything that enters or already exists is attempting to interfere not just with our planet, but also with us.